Journal Record Associate Publisher Ted Struley joins us to discuss more stories making news in business this week. Ted, thank you for being with us.
Glad to be here, Susan.
Well, I understand this was a big week for Oklahoma's energy companies. Why?
Well, it was a huge week for energy companies in Oklahoma. Many of them reported their earnings this week and did conference calls with investors. And really, across the board, the news was exceptionally good from the oil patch. One of the biggest ones was Continental Resources. They reported earnings, but they also talked about their outlook for 2018, where they expect a substantial increase in free cash flow. Now, they and a number of other companies are going to be able to use that unexpected cash that they haven't had the last few years to do additional drilling and to pay off debt. Well, when you do those two things, what's likely to happen is they'll have an even better year in 2018. One of the reasons that's possible is really because of certainly the higher oil prices hovering around $60 a barrel, although it wasn't that long ago that was really the break-even point. Now that's a very profitable point because technology has allowed them to get so much more efficient drilling wells. They're getting more oil out of the wells early in the life of that well and doing it at lower cost. So across the board, Devon, Continental, Chesapeake was profitable for the first time in years. OG&E, other companies all reported very high earnings. Williams, great week for the oil patch.
That is really great news. Something that might not be so great. Amtrak has announced that it may be suspending services on some tracks. Will that affect Oklahoma?
No, we don't think it will. Amtrak testified last week that they're concerned about the safety of passengers on some rail lines where they operate on the tracks but don't own them, where the tracks don't have a device called positive train control. The state of Oklahoma told us that all the tracks here and on the Heartland Flyer line to Fort Worth do have that installed, so it shouldn't make any difference in Oklahoma.
Turning to the world of agriculture, Ted, Oklahoma cattle ranchers are facing another hot, dry summer, we understand. How are they preparing?
Well, the Noble research folks down in Ardmore are warning ranchers to prepare for another dry summer. They're talking again about cattle sell-offs and thinning herds to deal with a lack of food for the cows brought on by lack of rain. We know we've had a little bit this week. It's certainly not enough, so they're warning ranchers to have a plan B and expect a dry summer.
I understand plans for a new basketball arena at the University of Oklahoma still face a few hurdles. What's happening there?
Well, there's a plan to build a 10,000-seat basketball arena where OU would play right along I-35 in Norman. It's a large piece of land that would have other amenities on it, a 225-room hotel, restaurants, shopping, some offices, a pretty big, aggressive plan. The problem is that that particular land is in a tax increment financing district that doesn't allow for a basketball stadium, so they're going to have to work that out before they can proceed with those plans.
All right, and finally, there's a lot of excitement in Oklahoma City about a Costco coming. Is that really going to happen?
Well, it sure looks like it is. There's a deal on the table where they would get about $3 million in retail tax incentives. We think that's just a formality to get that signed. The new Costco is supposed to go in up off of Memorial near Topgolf.
All right, Ted Struley with the Journal Record. Thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure, Susan.